Are you leading a remote team and feel like you are just guessing half the time? Worried about drifting connections, slipping productivity, or accidentally killing morale because managing people you do not see every day is a completely different game? Stop trying to apply old office rules to this new world. That approach is broken and pushing good people away. The truth is, leading remotely is tough. You are juggling screens, trying to build team spirit through a webcam, and battling that out of sight, out of mind fear. But what if you could turn these challenges into an opportunity to build your most flexible, productive, and connected team ever? That is exactly what we are diving into today. We are unpacking the playbook for successful remote leadership right now. You will get practical strategies, discover tools that genuinely help connect and collaborate, yes, maybe even a little AI, and learn how to keep motivation high and build rock-solid trust, even from miles apart. Plus, stick around, because I am sharing the single biggest mindset shift that separates struggling remote managers from truly exceptional remote leaders. It is something most get wrong, and you do not want to miss it. Let's get into it. Let us be real for a second. Leading a remote team throws some serious curveballs your way. It is not just about managing tasks. It is about managing people, energy, and connection across distances. What are the big hurdles? Okay, so we know the challenges. Now let us get into the good stuff. How to actually conquer them and become a remote leadership rockstar. This is not about finding one magic tool. It is about adopting a new mindset and using a combination of strategies and technologies smartly. Alright, let's talk about the mindset shift. Trust over control, asynchronous first. First things first, you really need to rewire your brain. Trying to replicate the in-office experience remotely, that's honestly a recipe for disaster. The biggest shift here, it's moving from control to trust. You hired smart people, right? Trust them to do their jobs. Focus on outcomes, not hours logged or those little green status dots. Measure success by results, by the quality of work, by meeting goals, not by perceived busyness. And yeah, I know this requires letting go of the need to constantly monitor. Instead, empower your team with autonomy and clear expectations. It's a game changer. Now, think detailed messages, shared documents, and video recordings instead of constant interruptions. Synchronous communication, like live meetings, still has its place, absolutely, but it should be intentional, not the default for everything. And trust me, this shift alone can dramatically reduce meeting fatigue and boost productivity. I mean, just imagine reclaiming hours wasted in unnecessary meetings. That's, well, a pretty powerful change, isn't it? So, communication clarity, cadence, and connection. We've talked about communication gaps, right? How do we bridge them? First, set crystal clear expectations. Don't assume anything. Document your communication norms, like which tool is for what type of communication. For example, Slack for quick questions, email for formal announcements, and a project management tool for task updates. What are the expected response times? When are the core collaboration hours? Putting all of this down in writing eliminates guesswork and honestly a lot of anxiety too. One fun idea is a two truths and a lie icebreaker in a team channel, or maybe sharing pictures of workspaces, whether they're the good, the bad, or well, the messy. Engagement and connection go beyond just the basics. Keeping people engaged means making them feel seen, valued, and connected to the team's purpose and of course to each other. Virtual team building doesn't have to suck. Forget those awkward Zoom happy hours where, let's be honest, everyone just stares silently. Instead, get creative. Online games can be a game changer, no pun intended. Platforms like Jackbox Games, Scribble.io, or even dedicated virtual escape rooms can be genuinely fun team activities. Shared documentation hubs are an absolute must. Tools like Notion or Confluence are fantastic for creating a single source of truth, whether it's for processes, project information, or team knowledge. This not only reduces those repetitive questions but also empowers people to find the information they need themselves. Honestly, a well-organized knowledge base is like a remote team's best friend. And let's talk about AI for a second. Introducing AI thoughtfully can make a huge difference. It's evolving rapidly and can be a powerful ally for remote leaders. But, and this is important, it has to be used ethically and transparently. Motivation and performance, these are big ones. So, how do you keep your remote team motivated and performing at their best? Well, it all starts with focusing on outcomes, not activities. I know we've touched on this before, but it's worth repeating. Define clear goals and objectives. Frameworks like OKRs, objectives and key results, or SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, can really help everyone understand what success looks like. And then, let your team figure out the best way to get there. Micromanaging tasks? That just stifles creativity and motivation. But focusing on results? That empowers them. Check in regularly on workload and well-being during your one-on-ones. Be observant of changes in communication patterns or engagement levels, but address concerns through conversation, not assumptions based on data alone. Building rock-solid trust remotely is essential. Trust is the absolute foundation of successful remote leadership. Without it, well, everything else falls apart. So, how do you build it when you're not sharing physical space? Be transparent. Share information openly and honestly, both the good and the bad. Explain the why behind decisions. When people understand the context, they are more likely to trust leadership. Be consistent and reliable. Do what you say you will do. Follow through on commitments. Be predictable in your communication and expectations. Consistency over time builds confidence. Leveraging technology goes beyond just the basics. Let's take a deeper dive into the tech stack that powers great remote teams. First, your communication hub. Tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams usually form the core. Master their features. Channels for organization, threads to keep conversations focused, status updates for availability, and integrations with other apps. Then, there's video conferencing. Platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, or Microsoft Teams are essential. Invest in good audio and video quality for yourself, and encourage your team to do the same where possible. Learn features like breakout rooms for smaller group discussions, polls for engagement, and screen sharing best practices. Remember, tools are just enablers. The strategy behind how you use them is what truly matters. Do not just add more tools, instead integrate them thoughtfully into your team's workflow. So, we have covered a lot: communication, tools, engagement, trust. But what is the single biggest thing that trips up leaders transitioning to remote management? What is that core mindset shift I teased earlier? It is this: stop trying to replicate the office online and start designing for the strengths of remote work. The mistake many leaders make is mourning the loss of the physical office environment and desperately trying to recreate its rituals and processes virtually. They schedule endless mandatory meetings to replace hallway chats. They implement rigid schedules to mimic office hours. They focus on presence instead of performance. This approach fails because it ignores the unique advantages remote work offers: flexibility, autonomy, deep focus time, and access to global talent. The most successful remote leaders do not just manage remotely, they design their team's operating system for remote work. They lean into asynchronous communication to enable deep work. They build trust explicitly because they know it will not happen passively. They measure results, not keystrokes. They leverage technology to connect people across distances in new ways, not just mimic old ones. They intentionally create moments for connection because they know it will not happen spontaneously by the water cooler anymore. It is about shifting from how can we make remote work feel like the office to how can we build the best possible team and culture, taking full advantage of the fact that we are remote. Embrace the differences, design for them. That is the game changer. When you make that mental switch, everything else, the strategies, the tools, the communication cadence, falls into place much more effectively. You stop fighting the nature of remote work and start harnessing its power. All right, let us bring it all together. Leading a remote team effectively is not just possible, it is a skill you can absolutely master. It requires moving beyond old habits and embracing a new way of thinking and operating. We talked about the critical need to shift your mindset from control to trust, and to embrace asynchronous communication as a feature, not a bug. We covered how vital clear expectations, a regular communication cadence, including those crucial one-on-ones and intentional efforts to build connection, are for bridging the distance. We explored practical strategies for engagement, using virtual team building that people actually enjoy, leveraging collaborative tools like Miro or Asana, and focusing on outcomes to keep motivation high. We emphasized that building trust through transparency, consistency, and empowerment is non-negotiable. And we looked at the technology, not just as gadgets, but as enablers for better communication, collaboration, and connection, including how AI might start playing a role, used wisely. Most importantly, remember the key shift. Stop trying to recreate the office online. Design your leadership approach specifically for the remote environment, leveraging its strengths like flexibility and autonomy. It is about being intentional, empathetic, and focused on results and relationships. Leading remotely is challenging, yes, but it is also incredibly rewarding when you get it right. You can build a team that is not only productive but also connected, engaged, and genuinely happy, no matter where they log in from. What is your #1 challenge or best tip for leading a remote team?